If you're getting a lot of no-shows and cancellations, it's because your follow-up sucks. It's the truth. So many salespeople, they just don't advance the sale, and they don't advance it to a point where they can put the buyer in a scoring position. So many people, they're like tiptoeing around it. They're like, oh, I just did all the Mickey Mouse work for 3 hours. And then when it comes to actually like figuring out if we got something, there's nothing. Who's got it better than we do?
Nobody.
Who's got it better than we do?
Nobody.
Let's go, baby. The most important thing that you could ever do is learn yourself. Learn your breaking points. Learn your weaknesses. Learn when you got that little voice going on in your head that you got to tell it to be quiet. And hey, listen, I know that this is a test day. This is a day that I don't want to wake up and go to the gym. This is a day where my discipline needs to kick in and start to coach yourself. You have to become a coach. You have to become your own coach. You have to become a coach for other people. If you're a boss on here, if you're an owner, people do not work for the boss or the manager. They work for blood, sweat, and tears for the coach, for the person that speaks life and not death into people. Anybody, if you've had one of those coaches, it makes you want to run through a wall when you're around those people. Andy Elliott's that guy for me. I'm going to get into these 7 tips that I know will change your life, but Andy was that guy for me. Many of you guys know our story and that kind of know where we started. Or some of you guys, like James, a couple of you guys have even been around since the very beginning. You've seen our growth. That growth doesn't happen if you don't have somebody constantly pouring into you. So my goal today is, number 1, what's your energy look like? You will make best decisions when your posture's right, your energy's right, you're leaning forward, you're excited, you're freaking trying to find those things. And then the next part of that is when you find those things, how fast do you fix them? Do you fix them like slow, like non-casually, like you find out your hole, your problem, and you're like, I'm just back to being the normal me. Some of you guys just might need to cut some things out in life. Maybe it's too much TV. Maybe it's too much drinking with the boys. Maybe it's, whatever the heck it is, dude. Like maybe it's too much video games. I don't care. Maybe some of you guys can think about right now subtracting one thing out of your life. You say you want the big life. How much effort are you putting into it? You say you want to be this magnificent person that can change things, but you can't cut out the TV for a little bit and put in a couple extra hours on yourself or the gym, right? Think about it for a second. What could you cut out before we even get into what you can add? What can we cut out right now that you can write down and you can self-reflect and say, this particular thing just isn't serving the version of me that I want to become? And here's how you recognize that thing, okay? Because all of you guys are so intelligent, you're so smart, you understand it, and you understand like what to do, but sometimes we just don't do what we know. So think about it for a second. Matthew McConaughey said it best. Think of the version of yourself 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line. That person has no monetary gain, nothing to gain off of you, just you becoming your best version of yourself. And he said, that's my mentor, is me 5 years from now. I'll never catch that guy because he's always 5 years out. But what would he tell you to do today? Would he tell you lean forward, pay attention, find one thing that you can and get and go chase the best version of you? Would he tell you to cut out some toxic people or some toxic relationships? Would he tell you to get in the best shape of your life so your mindset is on fire, so you love who you see in the mirror?
Hey guys, it's the Macklin Twins. Let's go! You can join our free training where you're going to see thousands of 1%ers just like you in our community training on personal development, sales, mindset, and greatness. Yes. Join us. It's free. Click the link in the description. ELLIOTT Training Academy. We'll see you on the inside.
Let's go, baby. Click the link. Would he tell you to become a better speaker? Would he tell you to cut the imposter syndrome? Like, start getting in front of people and letting your voice be heard. Some of you guys, that's the biggest thing that you could do. I could tell you right now, I can see sometimes when we role play the disbelief in your eye because public speaking is your biggest fear. Raise your hand if that's the case. Raise your hand if you don't want to raise your hand because you don't even like to raise your hand in situations where you're like, shit, people are watching me. Okay, so maybe you write that down. Maybe you fix that, and I'll tell you how I fix that. Go places where you're forced to speak. Go to places like Austin was talking about, Toastmasters, right? Where you have to get up and talk in front of somebody. To get to the person that you want to truly become, like I'm just telling you, you're just going to have to really start to keep your word in all areas. Some of you guys are really good on fitness, But the fact is you don't show up as a good parent every single day. And you know if you did that, that would change your life. Some of you guys are killer in fitness, but your mindset still isn't where it could be because you're not keeping your word to go chase other pressures and create that intensity that you have in the gym into the other areas of your life that need that intensity. But you have it inside of you. You have the dog inside of you. You know where to unleash it in certain areas. Why don't we just get it all? Can we all do that? Can we write that down? Can we understand that that's what the Elliott Group's mission is for you all? We want you to be the best salespeople. We want you to be the best leaders. We want you to have fulfillment, not just achievement, but fulfillment. You will go bankrupt, mentally and spiritually bankrupt, no matter how much money you make, if you're not focusing on how close you are to God or whatever you believe in. I don't even care. Just something. You got to believe in something other than just yourself. Okay? On the other side of it, fulfillment. Like what makes you happy? What's going to make you happy is getting the best version out of yourself. What makes you happy is contributing to other people. So focus on these areas. And as we go into the skill set of things, I'm going to give you some tactical things. But getting it all can be everything, like everything that you can think of that you want. Getting in the best shape, becoming the best version, the best dad, the best parent, the best husband, the best wife, everything. So many times in life, I'm 34 years old now, about to turn 35. I'm balding, I'm growing older. Every day I'm getting a little crazier. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm just transforming into Andy. You turn into who you're around, you know? But like every day I'm just learning that if I suppress those things and I become a little wiser, which wise for me is taking information that I learned from my coaches and going and doing the work. Doing the work. Andy always tells us, confront the work that you know you're not doing. Like, just confront it. Like, here it is right here. It's like somebody just talks shit to you, and then, like, you walk up to him in person, and do you go around, or you're like, hey, you're that person who talks shit. Bam! Punch him in the face. That's the work for some of you guys. Like, that is literally the work. It's that hater in front of you that's just mocking you, and instead of just saying, you know what, I'm going to show this guy up. You're like, you're right, bro. You're right. You know, I'm just going to do whatever you tell me to do. We're not doing that. Not with our team. Okay? So number one, if you're going to become the best salesperson in the planet, I want you to write this thing down. Master the product. There's so many people right now, they're not geniuses with their product. I'm not saying become like you have to be some dramatic product freaking expert, but I will tell you, when I was selling anything that I've ever sold, let's talk about Andy, for example. Here's a hack. Go to some of your founders that have found that started your business, that started your dealerships, you know, that started your solar company, that started your insurance company, and engage with the people who were there early on in the company. See why they believe in what they're selling. See how the product came to be born and alive. When salespeople come into the business and they talk to the Elliott Group and they talk to me, I'm like, bro, listen, man, we were at the kitchen table 4 years ago and Andy was talking about this, and then we started creating this product, and then we had this person go back and change their life. Dude, look at these pictures, look at this. And I'm telling them, what does that do for the salesperson? If they're paying attention, now they're taking that belief on like our story on how this thing came about, and they're taking it, and now they have something that they can talk to their customers. Bro, you'll never believe this, man. Andy, 4 years ago, he was 39 years old. When he decided to change his life, it was just a decision. He was at a kitchen table. The freaking twins were right there. Those guys right there. And he decided to create some products. And then he created a seminar. And then he started investing money in personal development like a savage. He went crazy. And he learned that he could recreate his identity. Is that what you want to do? Dude, that's how our products were inspired. We were in a place where we were frustrated like you, and we just started self-developing. You know how I know it? One of our founders told me that. Dude, and that's what I did when I got in the program. You see that? That's not a freaking sell. That's belief, bro. That is belief. It almost gives me chills because that's where it's at. If I'm at Mears Mazda, I want to know why are they on the, like, what's the name stand for? Who's the family? Like, what is it, right? If I'm at the Mazda store, I might even engage with one of the product trainers that comes in to train me, and I'm going to understand how to use the product. So many people in the car business, when I was selling, the new model would come out, somebody would pull in to look at it, and they didn't even know what was different from each year. They didn't even know how to, like, set up the basics on Apple. They were, like, stumbling through a presentation with a hot prospect. Who's ever been there? Raise your hand. Truth and honesty, I've been there. I was so guilty that when product experts would come from the factory, I'd be like, look at this nerd, man. Like, dude, I don't want anything to do with this guy. Like, I would sign my name and duck out of their training. And what I figured out is I'm a master of people, but if I also don't know my product, I can't believe in it. Next hack is, I want you to write this down. You must use your product. You must use your product. I always drove a Nissan. I'm just being real with you. I had some different cars. I had some nicer cars. I had some different things. But like, I loved my Nissans. I had almost every single one. I used the product. Plus I got a good deal. Plus I was bad credit a lot of the times. And Nissan can get you done on damn near anything. So I was like, hell yeah, let's go. Right? Like, but I was excited about it, guys. And then guess what your boy did? A couple of years into selling Nissans, there was the most expensive one on the showroom floor. My finance manager drove it. Man, it was nice. Those finance guys, dude, they're always buried in debt. No, I'm just kidding. Dude, he drove the freaking Nissan GTR. This is back in like 2010 or 11 or something, when a $100,000 car wasn't a Kia Telluride. It was like, dude, it was everything, bro. Like, it was like, bam. It was like, dude, that was a lot. I remember working my ass off and thinking and having the vision that one day I wanted to drive the most expensive car that we had in the lineup. And I remember when there was a white GTR and it was getting delivered on the truck. And I had started making big money. I started having big belief. Anybody ever been there where you finally buy something that you've been dreaming about? And by the way, you can have some motivation like a car, a Lamborghini or something like that. Don't let people confuse you. A lot of those like superficial things that people might not want to say motivate them. I'm going to be honest with you. They motivated the shit out of me. I didn't come from a family that drove $100,000 cars. So it made me feel good. I saw it getting off the freaking truck. I went down to my boss. I said, bro, it's the day. He's like, really? You're going to do it? I'm like, dude, I'm going to do it. Can you get a 520 done? No, I'm just kidding. I had good credit at that point. And I bought the $100,000 GTR. Dude, I remember driving it my first time. My mom was in the car. She came up, I'm like, Mom, I got the car. She's like, damn, okay, honey. Like, she's all excited. My mom's not the kind of mom that's ever skeptical on anything that I'm doing. She always believes in everything that I'm doing, even bad. I could literally like have a gun, be ready to shoot somebody, and she'd be like, just shoot them, honey. They talking shit. My mom is like that ride or die mom that you're like, you probably should tell your son that he's not being good right now. She's like, shut your mouth. My son's perfect. She gets in the car, we take it for a spin, and there was a cop, a Lakewood police officer. Sean, this guy was sitting, the big delivery truck was sitting like this, and I guess he had got there after it because he had heard that we used to speed up and down the back road of this dealership. He's sitting right there. I got my mom, I'm looping around the store. I hit it. My mom's like, and boom, we get pulled over right in front of the dealership. That picture got posted on Nissan's actual Instagram back in the day of me in front of my dealership, #1 Nissan sales guy in the country, pulled over in his first test drive on his first demo. I'll never forget that. But I'll never forget those moments, and loving my product was such an important key. Now, my mom talked us out of the ticket. She leaned over, and she's like the nicest little lady on the planet. She started talking to the cop. The cop was like, all right, I'm going to let you off this time. But literally, I swear to God, I will come in here and I will shut this place down if you guys keep running or like ripping and riding in the back. So we were cool. But think about that. Maybe you write down, maybe a couple of the visions or dreams that you have. Maybe a couple of the things that they motivate you. Okay? But understand, I personally, to master my product, I engage with the people that might have been there before me. I'm trying to figure out how the product became what it was. If it's a software product, I'm engaging with the developers. I'm telling them, talk to me about the things that clients would talk about the most, that would come up the most. Hit me with some questions. And if I can't answer those questions to a developer, to a founder, to a sales manager, to a general manager, you can't answer them in front of a client, okay? #2, profile your clients. I know that sounds a little bad, but the truth of the matter is I call it my ICP, my ideal client prospect. I'm gonna explain what profiling your client means, okay? Because you need to identify target personas. I want you to write the word persona down. Knowing typically who buys your product so you can focus your effort on high potential closing clients. The truth is, if somebody walked into the dealership and they said, I'm here to buy, what can I buy? And they started running, shaking their hands, what will we do, Mirrors Mazda? We'd probably be like, oh shit, we got a problem here, dude. Mayday, mayday, right? James, any of my car guys knows. That person, like, they're like people don't do that. There's always something wrong with that person, okay? But the truth is, there's certain clients that buy certain vehicles, certain things. Like, you should start to identify these different personas. There's certain people that are going to come in and buy a Nissan Pathfinder versus a Nissan Titan. There's certain, like, you start to realize that there's just a pattern. There's a pattern in people's personas. Now, if you're like, Evan, how do I do that? Here's how you do it. There's somebody in your company that owns the data. There's something like let's just talk about, I keep seeing the Mazda guys. There's probably tons of different stats on there on what the typical buyer looks like for a CX-9 or a CX-7. Like, and you guys have sold a lot of cars. I bet you if you just went back through your top 100 clients, you would notice some very similar characteristics. So if I'm talking to, in my world, a nurse from North Denver, you know, and she was coming in with her father, she just got out of medical school, like, I know that client would most likely fit. She's probably new to Colorado, she probably moved there, she's probably a transplant, she's probably smoking a little weed on her off time, you know, and she hops out of the car, she hops out of a two-door car, we're in Colorado, I can see she's got the third baseman with her. Like, I'm identifying this stuff. I'm like, oh shit, okay, I'm starting to size her up. I'm like, oh, that's probably her dad. He's probably I meet him, I give him good energy. Next thing you know, just like I thought, they probably just moved here, they're transplants. She wants a Rogue before wintertime starts because it has 4-wheel drive. Like, bro, I know that before I even meet him. We used to play a game in my dealership. Like, Ian and I could almost guess the client's profile when they pulled up based off of what car they had, what bumper stickers they had on the car, what radio station was playing, the freaking things that were inside of the car. But most salespeople aren't playing chess. They're playing checkers. Everybody say, stop playing checkers and start becoming a chess master. Okay? Start becoming a chess master. Everybody say it again with me. Start becoming a chess master. The same things happen in your business over and over, Roberto Salazar, Nick Seymour, Nick Sachs. The same things happen. But the problem is you're not paying attention and you're not writing it down. So what I do, especially with our team, yesterday, what we did is we got together and we looked at the different lead buckets that come into the business. And what we did was we used the data and the analytics. There's people in your business that have access to the data, or if you're selling for a big company like Mazda, where you can kind of look at some of this stuff. But what we did was we analyzed it and we said, what are typical serious buyers' patterns? Okay, what do they typically buy on the second time? What do they typically buy on the third time? These are things that you want to know. What might they buy and how serious are they? Okay, when you know your customer's past behavior, you can sell more effectively also. Okay, imagine this. This is like one of the most frustrating things when I'm talking to car salespeople on how to become the best. Do you wait for the freaking trade, talk to your manager about the trade-in at the end of the deal or the beginning? Okay, think about this for a second. Most people don't know their clients' past behaviors, so they wait to the end to handle stuff that could be handled in the beginning that could help them solve the problem more effectively. What I used, and you could wrap this into any business, just use your mind. Something called the trade bridge. Write it down if you're in the car business. Write it down. And think about it if you're not. Okay? It's really simple. When somebody would pull into the dealership, what I would ask them was one thing. They would get out of the car and I'd greet them. Hey, it's Evan. Welcome to Empire Lakewood Nissan. Are you here for parts, sales, or service? I'm here for sales. Sales. Awesome. What are you here to look at today? And then they say, I'm here to see a Nissan Rogue. And I'd say, great. Trade bridge. Underline this. Are you trading in a Nissan Rogue also? Are you trading in whatever the hell they say they're here to look at? I repeat like a parrot back to them. Are you trading in a Mazda Miata also, Sean? You look like a Mazda Miata guy, Sean Castudio. You trading in a Mazda Miata also? And he's like, he can only say a couple of things at that very moment. I'm playing chess. Well, other guys, right when they pull into the dealership, they're just like, what are you here to see? Oh, and then they run around and they don't Dude, chill. They're in your house. They're in your house. You could use this on Zoom presentations with people. Whatever. I would say, great. Are you trading in a Mazda Miata also? And he'd say, yeah, I am. It's this one right here. Cool. Before we go out and take a look at some other vehicles, do you mind if I ask you a couple of questions about this one? Yes. Now, I call it the trade bridge because the trade is going to bridge me from them wanting to see my car to me getting rapport and understanding all the things that I need to do to build rapport and sell them. To build rapport and sell them. Everybody say that. To build rapport and sell them. Okay, not you guys, but amateurs run out. They have no information and they're just spraying. You'd want this. This is cool. This is cool. Dude, stop. What I did was I slowed them down before we even go look at cars. I'm looking at their trade-in and I'm walking it and I'm like, yo, hey, listen, what do you like on this one that you'd want to see in the next one? What do you not like? Hey, by the way, I love this car. How long have you owned it? What's your typical cycle of trading in? This is great, man. Wow. Do you typically buy Mazdas that like all the time? And they're like, yeah, every three years. Oh, but you always finance it? Are you opposed to a lease? We have some really good leases going on. Okay. And by the way, I have a piece of note paper and I'm taking notes as they're talking. I'm not an amateur salesperson. If you right now don't have a piece of paper when a client is speaking with you and you're not taking notes, to me, you can say whatever you want. And I don't care if you've been in the business for 10 years. You're an amateur. Because at one point you did. And at one point you cared what the client was saying. But now you've been in the business for a while and you're like, you're shortcutting it, bro. That's why you're not getting the results that you want. What I would do is I would take notes. Anybody ever been to a restaurant and they weren't taking notes on the order and the waitress is like, oh yeah, I know, okay, yeah, we're just gonna, I got it. I'm like, hey, you wanna write that down? Like, that's 9 people's order. That's 3 people's order. She's like, no, I'm good. And what always happens? It's always a nightmare. So I'm writing it down. I'm asking qualifying questions. Now I've gathered all the information that I need. Most salespeople, they don't do that and they don't build rapport and they don't talk about the past experience on a product or service. I bring that up. I want to know about it. That's going to give me a chance to build rapport. Now we can go down a whole rabbit hole of rapport and we're off of them wanting to see my car. If they go see my car fast and I don't build rapport, all it is about the car and not the person. Does that make sense? Raise your hand if that makes sense. Say freaking I. Dang, Evan, you're bringing the heat. Drop some fire emojis in the chat if your boy's bringing some heat. Okay. The only other thing they can say is, no, I don't have a trade-in. Nice, not a big deal. What did you drive? How'd you get here, Bob? What'd you drive before? Come sit with me. Tell me all about it. Are you a first-time buyer? What do you do for a living? Oh, shit. I'm like slowing down. I'm like, bro, I'm cool, man. This is what I do. And by the way, I know I'm fired up. And you guys might be like, I'd love to see how he sells in person. Sometimes I sell just like this in person. I'm going to be honest with you. Because I might find like my clients that like this type of energy and I'm going to bring it. Other times I might find a guy that's, a little bit more seasoned like Sean Custodio or James Schubert and I might slow it down just a little bit but still be just above them, for my seasoned clients out there, right? But I'm still going to be showing them that I have good energy and it's the best freaking day of my life. Because it is. Because God is great. We're in an amazing country. We got a new president. Just dropping that in. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. But profile your clients. So I want you guys to write this down. Identify your target personas. Okay? Use some analytics. Qualify your leads. This isn't just about who might buy. It's about knowing if they're serious buyers. Write that down. This isn't just about knowing who might buy. It's about knowing who's typically a serious buyer. Okay? So you have to know who you're selling to. So you can ask this. You can ask the people that are in your business, like, where's the database and how do we figure this out? Okay, number 3. I want you guys to write this down. Process matters. Number 3, process matters. I know some of you guys get all weird. You guys get all like itchy when somebody talks about processes. You're like, I don't want to do processes, bro. I'm just a talented sales guy. I just like to run on freaking energy. Bro, listen, if you don't figure out how to dial in your process, you will be an average salesperson. And maybe even average, just so we're clear, you might be one of the top people in your company, But if I pull you up and I ask you how you handle your sales process, and it's so different every single time, even if you're a talented salesperson, you can't beat me because I'm freaking unstoppable. I'm a machine. I am machine-like. I want you to write that word down when it comes to process matters. Andy Elliott, early on when he was training me, I was a killer salesperson. But what I realized was wasn't working as hard as I could. So I also wasn't taking as good of care of my health as I could. And I also didn't have some of the relationships that I could. But also at work, I didn't have my word tracks as dialed in as I possibly could. And I was still kind of winging it. I was a professional winger. What that means was if somebody said something, I didn't have a baseline on how I would typically handle it. Now, a word track, when we're talking about word tracks, I want you to write this down. Memorize, internalize, and then customize. Memorize, internalize, and then customize. Mears Mazda, if you guys want to be great, what I suggest is this. You guys get together and you learn some of the word tracks and you memorize them word for word. You memorize them so well that literally you internalize them to the point where if you were taking a nap, if you were sleeping and I were to pull you up and I were to wake you up in the middle of your sleep at 2 a.m., Evan Macklin standing on top of you, and I'm like, hey, what's your sales process? I hit you with a word track and you don't know it, like you can't handle it like a pro under any situation, then you're not really truly becoming unstoppable. You're not really becoming machine-like. So the goal is perfect your sales process. Follow a legit sales process. It's like a recipe. Write that word down, recipe. It's like baking a cake. Look, dude, you've got to know when to be flexible with your structure. I'll be honest with you. You have your sales process. You got to know when to not be so rigid with it. But salespeople that follow a process are 30% more they have 30% more success than salespeople that do not follow a sales process. Okay? And yes, we're talking about the basic stuff like the meet and greet. Well, first, if we talked about sales process, my sales process, number one, is what does your attitude look like? Before we get into meet and greet, discovery, demo, trial close, and all that stuff, do you even have a good attitude? Are you even grateful for your life? That, I can sense that. Or are you so caught up with what's going on up here, people can sense that, and when they're around you, you don't contribute good energy. You guys ever been around those people that just consume energy out of a company and they don't contribute? Write those two words down. Contributor versus consumer. Now, I believe that all of you guys are contributors, but here's how you can test it. When you walk into a business, do people naturally kind of gravitate towards you, or do they kind of move away from you? Does shit get kind of quiet around you? Or is there's always some lively stuff and people are asking you questions, how you get successful, how you do this. You can be a new person in the company, and you guys have seen some of the new people that come into companies. They're fired up, they got a great attitude, but what happens? Maybe 90 days in, they start to cool down. 90 days in, they get those old 90-day smarts. They get too smart for their own good. And they don't realize that the one thing that was actually helping them sell the most was their attitude. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy, Blake? It's the truth, right? Raise your hand if you believe that's the truth. Raise your hand if your arm's broken. No, I'm just kidding. Raise your foot, Okay. Raise your hand if you don't raise your hand for nothing. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So, but think about that, follow a structure, okay? So, for me, I have an approach every single time. I know when a client gets off the sales path, and what I usually do, if you want to become great at this, if you have some good people around you, or a good manager, or a good general manager or something, go back every time you don't sell a deal and ask them, hey, where do you think I could have gotten better on that? And they might say, bro, I kind of heard you. You were talking past the close. I kind of heard you, man. Your process took 6 hours when really it could have taken 2, but you were all over the place. Okay, anybody ever been around those salespeople? You're like, dude, he's still with that customer? Okay, and those salespeople always say, well, that's always the hardest customer. No, bro, I think you talk too much. I think that you build too much rapport, you get too caught in the friend zone, and then when it comes to actually closing the deal, that's why you always need Big Daddy. Okay, so analyze that, dude. Analyze that. I was that guy. Okay, but create a sales process that works. Think of it like a recipe. You can have different little touches in there and different little fixes to or different little parts of the structure. But you have to have a process. People with the processes will sell more. So for me, guys, like, I know my process for acquiring customers. I do a lot of cold reach out. I do a lot of DMs. Like, I do a lot of LinkedIn. I do a lot of stuff. Some of you guys are selling brick and mortar where people are just coming into the business. I'm talking about, like, do you have a process for your own lead generation? Do you have a process? Like, every day, Evan, I post 3 posts a day on the deal of the day in the car business on Facebook Marketplace. Every day, I post a win that my client's having. I post 2 story posts with like a screenshot of a text message they sent me. Every day, I reach out to 15 people on LinkedIn. Dude, one of my mentors is a really good guy, and you guys might know him. He's just a funny, high energy guy. You guys ever seen the guy on $1 Million Listing, Ryan Serhant? Dude, he's just freaking awesome. The one thing that he does, this guy's worth millions, tens of millions of dollars. Every day, to this day, he still cold emails 15 billionaires. He has this huge list of billionaires. There's enough of them going around. 15 billionaires are a certain level of mega millionaires because he sells 20, 30, 40 million dollar homes. And he's like, dude, Evan, the compound effect of me sending these emails, and most new brokers won't even do that. Or they'll do it for the first 2 or 3 days or a week. I've been doing it for 15 years. I'm like, man, that's how I feel about social media. When I was in the car business, it was like, man, I just did the work every day. And then I looked up 5 years from then, and people who were trying to compete with me, they could never literally beat me because I had did the work for so long, the compound effect. Do you have a process on that? Do you have a process on your follow-up? Do you have a process on your follow-up? I'll give you some examples. A great follow-up would be like sending a video right after they buy. You know people have buyer's remorse? You know people get, you know that's a real thing? Connor Hancock, you know that's a freaking real thing? Do you send a video to reaffirm the sale that you're the right person so you don't get a bunch of unwinds? The biggest problem that you'll see with solar reps is they always just want the one close, and there's never follow-up after the sale. So that's why everybody always unwinds. They're like, my cancel percentage is 50%. I'm like, because you didn't walk the dog, bro. You don't know how to walk the dog. You see, in the car business, I walked the dog, which meant if I set an appointment from a week from now, or my install time was a week from now, I would touch point with those customers 2-3 times before they came in. They'd get a picture of me. They'd get a picture with one of my clients. They'd get a Google review. They'd get a video. They'd be like, oh my God, that way when they got in there, they would see me and oh, that's my sales guy. But then they would always show up to their appointment. If you're getting a lot of no-shows and cancellations, it's because your follow-up sucks. It's the truth. Okay? So what I did was I always would have touch points. You guys know if your dog has to go out there and take a doo-doo, he has to take a pee 2 or 3 times before he takes a doo-doo. So walk the dog to the doo-doo, which is the money in the sale. But you have to have touch points. Okay, so imagine your install time or your client's gonna make a decision in 2 months. Maybe you're selling a big software deal, but you don't have some rhythm on keeping up with them after the follow-up. Here's my keys to follow-up, and I know I'm throwing a lot at you guys. So what I would recommend, I'm bringing some fire, bro. I swear I missed you guys big time. Here's what I would recommend. Go back and the winners on this call will go back and watch this 2 or 3 times. The losers, they're probably not even taking notes right now. I'm just being honest. They're here to get motivated and have fun, which I'm cool with. But I would love for you to go back and win. The 3 keys for follow-up. This is outside of this is part of the sales process. Follow up, follow back, and follow freaking through. That means if you tell the client you're gonna be there at 5 p.m., you be there at 5 p.m. If you tell the client that it's gonna have window tint and you slip it up, but then you're too scared to tell your manager that you promised that, you own it, bro, and let them know. If you said there was gonna be a spare key in it and there's no spare key, dude, and you don't follow through on it, eat it on your commission. That's your fault. Okay? It's called integrity. And at one point, my integrity bank account wasn't the fullest. But now I understand if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do it all the way through. Why? Because that's also going to create more referrals. Plus, that creates more belief. If somebody doesn't want to do business with me, I have a lot of passion because I believe my follow-up is great, my prospecting is great, my discovery is great. So when I go to sell somebody, I'm confident in my process. So they can feel that belief. You can't fake sincerity, guys, can you? You can't fake that shit. So if you're not doing these things, you're like, oh man, okay, don't get down on yourself. Circle it. That's the difference between a winner and knowing a process, okay? Which comes down to this, number 4, perfect your damn pitch, man. Perfect it, okay? I told you, here's the key. I want you to write this down again. Memorize, internalize, and then customize. Okay? You got to be so fluent with your pitch and be so good at it that you're not thinking about the pitch. And it doesn't feel like a pitch. Anybody like to get pitched on here? Not really. Not really, man. Unless it's a good one by your boy Evan Mack, and then you're like, damn, bro, pitch me all day long. I want to get pitched, you know? You're like, okay? But here's the truth. If you can master your pitch and you can tailor it in and you've practiced it, some people have never practiced it on video. That could be your problem. You don't know how you sound and your tonality might suck. Your energy, you got to really look at yourself and say, what do I sound like? How do I talk? Dude, do I look like I'm ready for the game today, or do I have ketchup on my shirt and onion breath? Like, that could deter a customer, dummy. Like, sorry guys, that was a little harsh. It's the truth though. How many times you seen a salesperson show up and they got bad breath? But it's like, damn, dude. Okay, so if you do this, here's what happens when you perfect your pitch. You free up mental energy, so your pitch becomes automatic, and then you can use that mental energy to adjust to what the client's saying without you constantly thinking in your head, like, oh, what am I going to do? How am I going to handle it? And then you miss little subtle things that they said that you could actually use to close the sale. Okay, let me go back over that. If you don't perfect your pitch, you're constantly thinking about what the client's saying so you can pitch them and sound smart, versus me, I've mastered my pitch. I'm not nervous. I'm actually studying their body language when my words come out. I'm studying their hand movements. I'm studying their language. I'm studying their eyes. So then that way it makes me more agile and I can adjust to the client, which then makes the next pitch that comes out of my mouth more specific to the problem that I just found out about with looking at them and how they just took my last one. Okay? And so how I mastered that, because I wasn't good at it. Andy just would battle test me all day long. Like, he would say, hey, how would you handle this? How would you handle this? What would you do in this scenario? What would you do in this scenario? How would you do this? And I started like working my way through it like a fighter. Are you role-playing enough scenarios to where maybe you find out what their weak point is? Think about it with yourself. Hey, if I get a prospect and they came in and said these 3 things, how would I handle it? Usually I get stuck in this area. Figure it out. Okay, that's perfecting your pitch. Okay, and most of the time it's not like a crazy ass scenario, guys. We're talking about the same probably 7 to 10 scenarios that you're failing at, that if you did fix, you would double or triple your income. Okay, number 5, advance the sale. Advance, everybody say advance. Advance the sale, guys. So many salespeople, they just don't advance the sale, and they don't advance it to a point where they can put the buyer in a scoring position. One of the most important stats in baseball is runners in scoring position. But most salespeople don't advance to first base, to second base, to third base. If they can't hit a home run right out of the gate, they're out. They're out. Okay? Advance the sale. The customers are going to try to get you off like the path. They're going to ask you questions that get you over here. Your goal is to bring them back and get them to first base. Get them to the demo. They're not going to want to go to the demo. Once they get to the demo, get them to the trial close. Once you get them to the trial close, figure out a way to get them inside and present them with a freaking offer. Or they might say, but Evan, my wife's not here. Are you going to figure out how to advance that sale? Are you going to go pick up the wife? Are you going to get her on FaceTime? How are you going to advance the sale? The goal is just get them to the next step. Everybody say, get them to the next step. Okay, everybody, focus on momentum. I want you to write that down. As you go through your presentation, keep moving forward to avoid long sales cycles in one spot of the sale. As you go through your presentation, keep moving forward. Forward. Everybody say forward. Move forward. Okay, keep going. In with clear next steps with your client. Like, think about this. In with clear next steps, like a gymnast sticking a perfect freaking landing. Like, you want to stick a good landing, right? In your presentation with the next step for the client, stick the landing, right? Think about it like this. We went on a test drive. I get out of the car. I'm like, hey, Mr. Customer, If the car was 110% to your satisfaction, you'd buy the car here today, wouldn't you? I didn't say if, I said when. Think about this for a second. Most salespeople say, if the numbers work for you today, would you be interested in taking home the car? That leaves the ability to say, no, dude. That's not advancing the sale. The power of a word. When I get the numbers to 110% to your satisfaction, you'd be interested in taking home the car today, right? Hand reaches out, shake their hand. Next thing you know, we're walking inside. Boom! That's advancing the sale. That's advancing the sale like a champion. And saying it with confidence. So many people, they're like tiptoeing around it. They're like, oh, I just did all the Mickey Mouse work for 3 hours. And then when it comes to actually like figuring out if we got something, there's nothing. By the way, it's okay to line up your prospects as you get to know them and throughout the sale, or maybe like as you really get you bro down with them, you're like, man, look, man, I know that we're going to find something that's going to work great for you. And by the way, if I find something that works great for you and it fits your budget, your needs, your wants, you'd buy a car for me today. You know you would, wouldn't you? Right? Like, dude, it's okay to drop those frames. It's a frame. Okay? This is the truth too, by the way. I do business with people that are decisive, that when they find something they want to change, they're not okay. They can't even sleep. They want to change it now. I'm in the coaching business. I'm in the now business. I'm not in the let's do it tomorrow business and let's think about it for 2 days. Bro, listen, in those 2 days, you could have made the money that you're having a problem with. Okay? Or maybe 10 times did and felt better. So let's do it now. By the way, I'm going to tell you something. I do business with people that are decisive, that want to win, and when they find something that they want to win with, they're okay with making a decision now. Are you that type of guy? Are you that person? Because if you're not, it's okay. I got a junior coach. I got somebody that can follow up with you like a salesperson. I'm a coach. Do you want to do business with a coach that can help push you? Do you need accountability? Do you need community? Good. Then you're in the right place. Okay, by the end of this call, I'm going to ask you to make a decision to change your life. Are you in or not? Boom, framed them. They can't go like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. No, bro. They can't then let something come back out of their mouth like, oh, well, I got to go think about it. Bro, you told me. What do you mean? Let me loop back around. Remember what you told me? Do you want a guy like me in your corner? Let's start this relationship out 100%, bro. A1 from day one. Do you have that certainty? The way that you get that certainty is you start advancing the sale. You have a perfect pitch. You start keeping a sales process. You start keeping your word to yourself. You don't get overwhelmed. You don't get called out. You get called up. You start to figure out what my holes are. And bam! And then all of a sudden, because you can make a decision right now, I swear it's this easy to be one of the best salespeople in the world. But you'd have to really decide to stop telling people you want it and actually do it. You'd actually have to decide to do this. Write the word effort down. I coach my son's baseball team. Well, I wasn't really the coach. But I started showing up to practice, and I show up and I have a whole batting bag. He's 2 years old. You guys met him. I have a whole batting bag. I have my own tee. My tee's like freaking $180 or something. I got a whole ball. I got my own equipment, bro. We don't play. We don't play at my house. When we commit to something, we see it through. And I show up to practice, and my son, we practice in the house how to race. So I say stand on the line, and then I have a whistle, like a coach's whistle, and I run around the house, and I literally I'll run him until he's ready to go to bed at night. So it's perfect too. And we have a lot of fun doing it. And so he's used to standing on the line. We have a tee, and out front of my house, every night before I get home, doesn't matter if I'm tired, we hit 30, 40 balls. He's 2 years old. Okay, he loves it. It's fun. I learned this early on, and this quote changed my life. And this is as true about anything as it is about parenting. You don't have lazy kids, you have lazy parents. You don't have lazy kids, you have lazy parents. That stung me, because there was times where I would get home and I'd be like, and I'd hit the Netflix, I'd chill. No, bro. Listen, I want my son to be great, and he deserves a dad that can push him to be great. Number 6, position your value, not your price. We're going to finish this up in 5 minutes. I'm going to rip hard on these last 2. Okay? Emphasize value over price. Show clients how the product helps them grow in their revenue, cut costs, expand market share, whatever it is that you're selling, for whatever problem that you're trying to fix. Emphasize value over price. Here's how you do it. Bake value into every part of the presentation. We talked about being a recipe. Bake the value into the presentation. Help clients see a bigger picture of what they'll gain by focusing on the key benefits with you over the price. the key benefit of your product, of your service, of you, of the business, of any of the good things that like you should highlight. Maybe free warranty, free this thing that comes with it. You know, highlight those things. Call your shot. Tell people like, dude, by the way, I'm telling you, I am great at what I do. Not only are you going to get a phenomenal product, but you're going to have the best freaking rep in the world by your side. And that's me, man. I care about this. And actually show them and actually say that. Everybody say, I really care about this. I really, truly care about this. This isn't a job. This is my career. Everybody say that. This isn't a job. This is my freaking career. This isn't a job. This is my life. I'm going to help you and I'm going to deliver at all the areas that are important to your family, to your family. What if you said that? What if you talked to your clients that way? Man, you would position yourself with so much more value, okay? Only about 10% of buyers focus on price. I'm just telling you. They want to buy from a person that they feel is the right person. It's a gut feeling. They're masking it with asking you price questions, and your attitude is deflating when it was so high at first, but they hit you with one little price or payment objection, and you start being like, friction comes into the deal. Release the friction, answer the questions, assure them that they're going to be doing business with the right person, and move through it with a good attitude. Number 7, and the very last one, is self-regulation. Everybody say regulation. Everybody say regulate. Now I want you to write this down. Time and discipline. Consistency with your time management is going to be how you're successful. Successful salespeople are disciplined and constantly focused on high impact activities, high earning activities, high value activities. If you can't self-regulate, or you can only do it for 2 or 3 days at a time, you cannot keep up with the best. And all of you guys said that you want to be the best. Learn to self-regulate. What that means is like focus on the things that are impulsive for you. Maybe that's like after you go get a sale, you go eat with the boys for an hour in the circle. Maybe you don't bring your food to work and you're spending an hour in the breakfast circle talking when you could actually be out there selling. By the way, you know if you're at a store, a dealership, the first people that usually walk in buy. So if you're figuring out your breakfast till 10 a.m., you've already lost, bro. You've already lost. I'm being honest with you. Because guys like me don't do that. Okay, I'm self-regulated. Are you self-regulated? Or do every time you make a deal over Zoom or a presentation, do you got to get up and go to the refrigerator, go hang out on the couch? Like those of you that work from home, you're just like freaking working from home in your little undies, just freaking hanging out. You know, like, dude, like you're not doing jack. Okay, maybe you need a manager. Okay, manage yourself, self-regulation. I want you guys to write this down. Daily execution matters. Okay, high leverage activities will build momentum. Get them done early. Get on the phone early. Get in front of prospects early. Figure out a way to get a proposal or two out early within the first hour of being at work. That could be calling somebody that previously was with you and immediately getting another offer out there. You need to start talking business early to get your mind focused on making money, not creating problems. Anybody ever been at work 12 hours and by the end of the 12 hours you've created all the problems and they're not even real, you know? And you're like, dude, if you would have just sold something early, you wouldn't even had none of those problems. Isn't that weird? Weirdo. Dude, I'm killing you guys today. Some of you guys may not come back to this call. You're like, damn, he's making me feel bad in every area. Okay, sorry guys. Okay, I want you to write this down. Discipline is key. If you're consistent, you'll start to build momentum. I want you to ask yourself these questions. Ask yourself, what are my high leverage activities? What are my high income earning activities? And what will help me hit my goal today? Not in a year from now, not in a month from now. What will help me hit my goal today? And that's all I got for you guys. I freaking love you. Those are the tips that are going to change your life. Raise your hand if you found something in there that you could fix. Raise your hand if you found something in there that you can't wait to attack. Raise your hand if you're sick of your weaknesses and you're trying to freaking go double down and kill some of those things and make them your strengths. Raise your hand if you believe that there's another version of you inside of doing more work and actually getting more skilled. Raise your hands. Sometimes when it comes to being a salesperson, we can be so trapped in our mindset that we just don't focus on our mindset enough. I want you to think about, before we do this exercise, I want you to think of 2 or 3 things you're grateful for. Your kids smile. Close your eyes. Your kids smile. Maybe your kids laughing. Okay, maybe your wife. Okay, maybe somebody who believed in you, somebody who told you you were important, somebody who told you you were special. Think of what that felt like. Think of another big win. Think of a big sale that you had. It should invoke some emotion in you. I want you to really focus on the kid's smile, somebody who believed in you. Think about that for a second. Think about what you're grateful for. Okay, now open your eyes. Okay, I want you to just really think about that for a second. And if that changed your state right now, it's so easy throughout the day to have self-awareness and just start to change your state as problems start to arise. Secondly, one of the easiest ways that we can change our state is our posture, is the way we talk, is the way our energy. Dude, are we walking around like this, or are we like, man, I'm fired up today. I'm gonna have the best day of my freaking life. Let's go. Okay, that's the energy that we're gonna leave with this call. Okay, we're gonna say something, and we're gonna say it with all that we got. I'm gonna say, who's got it better than we do? And I want you guys to yell, nobody. And if you're in a group, don't look around to the left or the right to see what other people are saying. If you're in a Starbucks, good. Shake that freaking Starbucks and make everybody be like, who is that person? And then go talk to them all and sell them all something, okay? But I want you guys all to say it loud. I want you guys to get crazy. We're gonna run it 3 times. I'm gonna say, who's got it better than we do? And you guys are gonna say, nobody, okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Who's got it better than we do?
Nobody!
Who's got it better than we do?
Nobody!
Who's got it better than we do?
Nobody!
Let's go, baby. Let's go, guys. Go get fired up today. Go kick some butt. Be intentional with everything that you want to do in life. Go kill it. Go get your dreams. Go sell some stuff. Let's kick ass. Okay, see you guys. Woo! Brought some heat, baby. Twin Tuesday. Every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you're not on those calls, you're crazy, bro. We're fired up. Okay, next call. Let's get it.
All right, guys, you're the true 1%ers. You made it to the end of the video. Let's go. Like, comment so we know who you are down below, and then share this video to somebody else who needs it. And also turn your notifications on because we got the fire coming every single day. Amazing. We'll see you at the next video. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.